Okay, let's go ahead and look at section 1 now. Section 1, we have similarity, we have transformations, and we have polygons. When in doubt, you're probably going to set up a cross multiplication problem. Okay? You're probably going to set up a cross multiplication problem with the majority of these problems. So, number 1, the scale drawing of a porch is 10 inches wide by 18 inches long. If the actual porch is 14 feet wide, what is the length of the porch? So we have a scale drawing and we have the actual porch. Okay? Then we have, in the scale drawing, we have wide over long. And guess what? The porch will also have wide over long. We can pretty much see our cross multiplication problem set up after we do that. Scale drawing is a 10 by 18 inches. Now if we go to the porch, we notice that it is in feet. Okay? We need to convert that into inches by timesing by 12. 14 times 12 gives us 168. Now the 168 is our wide, so that needs to go on the top. Now we just have a multiply, divide, you get your answer. 168 times 18 divided by 10. 302.4 inches.
How'd you get the 168?
168. It's in feet, correct, Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything else is in inches. How many inches are in 1 foot?
12.
12. So I took the 14 and I times it by 12.
Okay.
So everything is in inches. It's all good. Okay? Let's look at number 2 now. Two of the bulbs in a sample. Okay? So we have a sample. If the sample was a representative, find the number of bulbs suspected in a defective in a case of 830. So then we have the case. So in the sample, it was 2 out of 50 were defective. Now in the actual case, which has an 830, they want to know how many of those are defective. Cross multiplication problem is staring at us like a sore thumb, correct? Let's multiply, divide. 2 times 830 equals 1,660 divided by 50. We end up with approximately 33 bulbs. Number 3. Find the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a convex 22gon. Please, please, please memorize this formula. This is easy points if you just know this formula. N represents the amount of sides. We have a 22gon, so it's 22. You plug it in. 22 minus 2 times 180. Follow order of operations, so subtract the 2 first, and you're going to get 20, obviously. You're going to times that by 180, and you're going to get 3,600. Simple point if you memorize that formula. Number 4. Find the values of x. The triangle ABC is similar. That's what that symbol means right there. Similar. With triangle JFL. So once again, there's going to be a cross multiplication problem that we're going to set up. Bless you. Here's AB. What corresponds with AB? JF. So we have 25 over 5. Now let's do the x minus 3. I'm going to use zigzags, which is BC. What corresponds with BC? FL. So we have x minus 3 over 3. So use this right here to know what goes with what. Now we have a simple cross multiplication problem. (25 times 3, 75). Here I gotta distribute the 5 into both of these terms. So I end up with 5 times x, which is 5x. 5 times 3, negative 15. Now let's just solve this Algebra 1 problem. Add 15 on both sides. We end up with 90 equals 5x. Divide by 5, x equals 18. Number 5. A 6-foot tall student casts a 14-foot shadow. So we're going to actually have student over shadow. This is going to be proportional to the tree over its shadow. Let's make sure everything's in the same dimension. We have foot, okay, we have foot, good. Feet, good. Everything is in feet, so we don't need to do the multiply by 12 like we did on number 1. So, let's set up our proportion. Our student is 6 feet tall, and his shadow or her shadow is 14 feet. The tree, which is right next to, is casting a 67-foot shadow. We need to make sure the shadow is on the bottom. All over x. Cross multiplication problem, ready for us to go. 67 times 6. Divide by 14. We end up with 28.7 feet. Number 6. If in triangle ABC, AC is parallel to DE. If AD equals 12, BD equals 4, and CE equals 12, find BE. But here's the story. The proportion that we're setting up is staring at us like a sore thumb. We're going to put one side, so here's what we're trying to find, correct? So, we have 18 over 4, 12 over x. It's pretty much staring us at a sore thumb, our ratio. Let's cross multiply. 12 times 4 gives me 48, and then I'm going to divide by the 18. Yep, that's what I got too. 2.6 repeating. So just look at our problem. It pretty much sets up our proportion. And to be honest, number 7 does the same exact thing. You can pretty much stare at it and see the proportion right away. What do you think I'm going to put what over what? I'm going to put the x over the 12. I'm going to put the 24 over the 18. Here's the top. Here's the bottom of our proportions. We're good to go. 24 times 12. We get 288. We're going to divide by 18. And I agree with Selena with the 16. Say what? Yeah. Number 8. What is the scale factor of these two shapes? Do not overcomplicate these problems. Literally, the scale factor is what is the ratio of the sides. So, I have a 30, and what else? What side corresponds with it? 25. We only need to look at one side when we're doing the scale factor. Just one side. Okay? Now what we're going to do is just put those over each other, and then we're going to use our good old middle school math skills and reduce this fraction. 5 goes into both of these. How many times? 6 and 5. So, 6/5. Now, they could ask A over B. If they ask A to B, it would be 6/5. But if they ask B to A, our answer would be 5/6.
If it doesn't say, you just automatically do the bigger one.
Yeah. The question I was just asked, if they do not say, just automatically assume as a bigger one. Number 9. Quadrilateral ABCD. Once again, there's that squiggly mark that showed up earlier. That means similarity. Is similar to quadrilateral EFGH. Find the value of x. As we notice, everything that is labeled are angles, not sides. This is super simple. If it's similar, all angles are congruent. If all angles are congruent, they also know that they're all equal. They do that, they tell us that anyways with these little curly marks. So what am I going to do to that 5x and that 115? Literally, set it equal to each other. That simple. We end up with x equaling 23. Right? Right? Yeah. Good. Number 10. This is really easy. It seems complicated by how it's worded. If a measure of each interior angle of a regular polygon is 144, find the measure of each exterior angle. Now, you guys think there's probably a huge, gigantic equation to figure this out, but there's not. Because literally, one interior angle and one exterior angle are always going to be linear pairs. What do we know linear pairs add up to? 180. So if I know this is 144, can I figure this guy out pretty quickly? 180 minus 144. My exterior angle is going to equal 36 degrees. So if they tell you we need one interior angle and they want to know what one of the exterior angles is going to be, they're always going to be linear pairs. Subtract the interior from 180, you'll get the exterior. Or if they give you the exterior, you can subtract it from 180 and get your interior. Number 11, once again, we have two similar shapes. We're going to set up a proportion problem, a cross multiplication problem. Who does the 12 correspond with? X. Am I going to use the 4?
No.
I am not going to use the 4 because there's nothing to use it with on its corresponding part. I am not going to use that guy. Then I'm going to use the 18 and the 9. Let's set up our proportion, x over 12. If I put the x on the top, what else needs to go on the top? The 9, because it's on the same shape. Nine times 12, we get 108. Multiply and divide. We get 6. So help me if you guys get this next one wrong on the final. Find the sum of the measures of the exterior angles of a convex 18-gon. There is absolutely no math involved in this one. Absolutely no math. I don't care if that's an 18-gon. I don't care if that is a 348-gon. My answer is always going to be 360. No math. Exterior angles will always add up to 360. Number 13, 14, and 15 are our translations piece. Okay? We're going to have to translate a shape to a new image. So first thing I'm going to do is name all these points. G is at 1, 5. L is at 4, 5. Q is at 5, 2. Sorry. -5 and -4. We're back on the same page now. I heard Ree back there whispering. -1 is 0.
I actually wasn't.
Oh,
I was
talk to her.
trying to keep it
Okay.
neutral. I got it.
So, -1 and 0. So now that we have our 4 points labeled, we got to remember our rule. Our rule is to flip and change what? We're going to change the y. So you're going to change y and flip. So, it's 1, 5 now. Let's change the y to a -5, and then we're going to flip it. So now it's at -5, 1. Change y, flip. Let's change y. 5 is a positive now. Now it's negative. And then I'm going to flip. So now I'm at -5, -4. Change y to -2. Flip it. So now we're at -2, -5. And finally, change y. I don't know about anybody else, but we can't really change a 0 to an opposite sign. So now we're just going to flip. So now we're at 0, -1. Now, if you forget these rules, there are some easy things that you can do. If this is in quadrant 1, and I have to go counterclockwise, it should end up in this quadrant right here. These two line points should end up in this quadrant. So you can look at all the multiple choice options and make sure all the points are in the right quadrant. You can start crossing some things out if you forget the rule. Number 14, super simple. Translations, you just move points. We have this with ease. So we're going to move each point 5 to the right and 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 down. Easy as pie. That's a gimme. That better be a gimme, correct? Correct. And finally, for section 1, let's look at a reflection. Reflection across x equals -2. Remember, let's go ahead and remember, any x equal, our graphs are vertical. Any y equals, our graph is horizontal. This particular one is an x equals, so it's going to be a vertical line through -2. Here's the origin. Let's go to -2, and then let's go ahead and put a vertical line through -2. What that line is going to represent is my reflection line. Good news is, C is going to go nowhere because it is located on the reflection line. So, E is on the right. It needs to reflect over to the left. 1, 2. That's exact amount of units we're going to go to the left. 1, 2. F is on the left side of the reflection line. So now it needs to end up on the right side of the reflection line. 1 unit to the reflection line. We're going to go 1 more unit to the other side. There's our new shape. Please, 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 make sure you know this part right here. If you know this part and draw your vertical or horizontal line, your reflection should be easy. That's it for section 1. We'll move on to section 2.